Hello, everyone. The next topic is X.509. This is a authentication and certification standard. Okay, so these are facts and just details of the standard 509. So X.509. So let's continue. X509 authentication services. It is part of the CCITT X.500 directory service standards. Okay, the 509 authentication service is part of this directory service standard. And this standard is used for distributed servers maintaining user information database. Okay, it defines a framework for authentication services, and that is X509. In the authentication services framework, there is a directory that may store public key certificates with public keys of users signed by the certification authority. Okay, we've already seen earlier what is, authentication certification, how it works. We have seen. We're looking at the standard now. Okay. It also defines, 509 also defines an authentication protocol, and it uses public key crypto system and digital signatures. Okay, so the public key crypto system and digital signatures can be certified using this particular standard. Okay, use. An unsigned certificate contains user ID and the user's public key. Okay, so to this, a hash is generated for this unsigned certificate, and that hash is signed. So for signature, hashing and digital signature is being done, and the signed hash code with the certification authority's private key forms the signature. So the signing of this particular certificate is being done by the certificate authority's private key, and that value is then sent to the recipient as the signed certificate. Okay, so this is the signed certificate. The sign is generated in this manner, and the recipient, whoever gets the certificate, can verify the signature to check whether the certificate is authentic. They can verify the signature using the public key of the certification authority. Okay, so this is how a certificate is generated and signed by the certification authority in X509. Okay, so the certificates in X509 are issued by a certification authority, and it contains all these things. Okay, there are 3 versions, 1, 2, and 3. Serial number SN, which is a unique number with the certification authority, and it identifies the certificate uniquely. Okay, the signature algorithm identifier is AI, algorithm identifier. Issuer is X500, the name of the certification authority. Period of validity is the from to dates, that is also there. And then the name of the owner, subject of the X500 name is name of the owner. Subject, public key info, parameters, algorithm and parameters is algorithm, parameters, key. These things are there for the public key info. Then the issuer has got, in the case of version 2, there is an issuer, other than all these things, there is an issuer unique identifier and subject unique identifier. Okay, and in the case of V3, there are extension fields also. And there a signature of hash of all the fields in the certificate. So the whole certificate is then signed. It is hashed and then signed. We saw that earlier. Okay, so the notation C and in 2, brackets, A denotes certificate for A signed by CA. Okay, so this is in general 509. What is there in a 509 certificate? Okay, now we can see over here, this is a X.509 certificate, as we saw earlier, what version that is specified, certificate serial number is given, and then there is an algorithm with its parameters. So this is the signature algorithm identifier. Issuer's name is there, that is the certificate authority's name is there. Period of validity. So from date and to date is there. Subject name, so whose certificate this is, that name is there. The subject's public key information, the algorithm used for the public key crypto system, the parameters need to be given, and key. This information is stored. Issuer unique identifier, so the CA's unique identifier, subject's unique identifier, any other extensions if there is, and then the signature. Okay, the signature also has got which algorithms use parameters and the encrypted hash. Okay, so these are all the things which are there in an X.509 certificate, as we saw in the list earlier. Okay, now in version 1, we can see the arrows over here. Only these up to subject public key information from version to public key information only is there in version 1. In version 2, issuer unique identifier and subject unique identifier is also there. In version 3, an extension is also there. And in all version 1, 2, and 3, signature is there. Okay, so this is the diagrammatic representation of the previous slide. Okay, then if the certificate is revoked, there is a revocation list. Okay, the revocation list is maintained in this particular format. There is a signature algorithm identifier. So algorithm and parameters will be there. Issuer name will be there. This update date and the next update date. So the earlier certificate's update date and the next update date will be there. If it is revoked, then the revoked certificate, user certificate serial number and revocation date will be there in this. Then there are other information. All the other certificates which have been revoked will be listed over here. So each certificate that is revoked will have this particular format, will be listed over here. Then again, see the whole list up to over here. And then finally, there is a signature also. Okay, so algorithm, parameter, and encrypted hash. Okay, so this is how a revocation list certificate is given. Okay, now how to obtain a certificate from a certification authority? Any user who is registered with a certification authority and has access to a certification authority can get a certificate. Only the certification authority can modify a particular certificate because so that it cannot be forged. Okay, and that certificate is placed in their public directory, which can be accessed by the people who have got access to the CA. Okay, now the hierarchy of the certification authority. If two users share a common certificate authority, then they are assumed to know the certificate authority's public key. Okay, otherwise the certificate authority must have an hierarchy. Okay, the user certificates links members of the hierarchy to validate other CAs. So if there is a CA for a group of people, there is another CA for another group of people, the communication between those two sets of users will be through the certificate authority. Each certificate authority has the certificates of their clients, and they can forward the certificate to their client and to the parents. Okay, so backward and forward certificate forwarding can be done. Each client trusts the parent's certificate. Okay, and certificate authority can verify any certificate by users of all the CAs in the hierarchy. So the CA has authority to verify all the users and their certificates in that particular cluster. Okay, and that the client has got a parent, and that parent CA or another parent client who has got access to the CA, they are trusted by those below the hierarchy. Okay, so this is what the diagrammatic representation of what we just said. Okay, any of these can be certificate authorities or parents. Okay, so if V is the client, then the certificate V is given by U. Okay, and both you trust V and V trust U. Okay, so these two are the certificate authorities. Similarly, between V and W, there is a trust between them both, client and parent. Here also between V and Y, etc. Okay. Now, if you come down the chain like this, if you see Z over here, Z trusts all those who are above in the chain. So there is a relationship between Z and Y and Z, and there is a relationship between Z and V. In the same level, Z and X and Z. So all these people are from the certificate authority V, and all the users trust each other. Okay. So this is how the hierarchy works. Okay. Certificate revocation. Okay. The certificates are normally issued for a period of time, as seen in the details what is there in the certificate. And sometimes the certificate needs to be revoked before the expiry. Okay, that is normally either if the private key is compromised, or the certificate is no longer being that particular user is no longer be certified by the CA, the certification authority, or if the certificate itself, CA's certificate has been certificate authority's certificate has been compromised, so it is no longer secure. So the reasons why a certificate can be revoked. In that case, a revocation list is maintained, and we saw the format of the revocation list. Okay. Now in X version 3, okay, it has been recognized that additional information is needed in a certificate. For example, email or URL, policy details, usage constraints, things like that may also be needed. So those can be given as extensions. Okay, rather than explicitly naming the new fields, they are defined in a general extension method, and some of the things that can be contained there are extension identifier, criticality indicator, extension value, etc. Okay. Now, what are the extensions possible? Key and policy information. It conveys information about subject and issuer keys, plus indicates of the certificate policy. So this kind of information can be given in the extension in the case of keys and policy information. Now, if you want extra information about certificate subject and issuer attributes, then it supports alternative names, alternative formats for certificate subject or issuer. Okay. Another possibility is certificate path constraints. So it allows constraints on the use of the certificates by other certificate authorities. So this kind of information, and some extensions that can be seen in the X.509 certification. Okay, and with this, we are concluding today's topic. As usual, please feel free to contact me if you have got any doubts, and don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you.